guess where I am? I am in sunny Ghana. Now, why am I here? I'm here because I'm coming to talk to you about the environment, and I felt that there was no better place to do that than in the land of my ancestry, because my culture and tradition that I've been studying for many years has inspired me in so many ways and taught me about so many things, including about my health and well-being. And I believe that there's so much within our culture to teach us about relationships with the environment. So it's not just something extra, it's embedded in the way we live, because we believe it's essential to a good quality of life. So I'm going to be going through all aspects of both religious, modern day living, and what that could teach us about our interaction with the environment. So hopefully by the end of the day, you'll be inspired by my culture as much as it inspires me. Now, you know I don't waste time, so let me introduce myself. My name is Nigeli. I'm a medical herbalist and a proud African woman. So let's get started. Now, what if I told you that in the bustling city of Accra, which is the capital city of Ghana, that there are a number of sacred forests and sacred farms that have been kept alive for hundreds of years despite the growing urbanization of this very populous city? Now, why is that? Now, we believe that nature isn't something static. We believe that it's something that can communicate with us and we can communicate with it. And as a result of that communication, the people and the population develop mentally, physically, and spiritually. So despite the growing urbanization, we have fiercely protected these spaces because they are essential to the growth and well-being of the people. As long as nature is alive, we are alive. So let's go forward and find out a little bit more about some of these sacred forests and groves and farms that are dotted around Accra. So here I am in La, which is a place in Ghana. And why am I here? I wanted to show you an example of how our relationship with nature beats the mass urbanization that's going on around the world. So here you see a mini forest. Because of our relationship with this forest, we have kept it no matter what was going on in the community. This forest serves as a communal space, a ritual space for the members of the La community. Many of us know trees as responsible for cleaning air and also helping in terms of the biodiversity in the area. But the reason why this forest is here, despite the urbanization going on all around it, and despite the shrinking forest, is because this forest means more to us than simply something transactional.
When the La people came here, they were directed by God himself from Boni, because they believed in God at the time. When they had the family, God revealed himself to him. And at the time, he was then leaving the people, his people, because he was the Lumo at the time. And when he thought the people were insulting him, that they were farming and he couldn't do much about it, he carried the left millet in his palm. So when he was going, leaving the people, he said, okay, when he leaves the people, he will tie the bush behind him so that the people cannot follow him again. And when he got to the end of the village at that time, or their town, he dug a hole and poured the millet in. That ritual is what is performed till today whenever there is homo. See that they plant the millet, and so that millet that he planted that old day is what they continue to do. And he tied himself behind him the weed so that the people could not follow his path. And that is what the Ghanaians call Beminla up to today. And he said God revealed so many things to him. There were 3 things, and he said God directed him to this particular place. So he sent his descendants or his grandchildren to this land. They came and located the land, and afterwards they performed rituals here. So this is the place that God directed them to come. And when they came here, this is a forest that God deliberately showed them. And so this forest has been since ancient time. And every year, according to this man, God had a covenant with him. And that covenant is what they call the La Palm. So every year, they perform a ritual, which is prayer to as to confirm the covenant that God is with them. So yearly they perform this ritual. And this very place, as you see, when they meet, they have what they call alomi jomo. So they come together and you can see what they say akpiti bijino. So they remember this is unleavened bread that is a God told them. And that unleavened bread is what we call the popo to today.
And like in many places around Ghana, you will see mini farms and mini forests, because to us, nature is more than a static thing that we basically use and abuse. It's an interactive relationship that will ensure that we live our best mental selves, our best spiritual selves, and our best physical selves. So take a look at the miniature forest that we have in the middle of La that is responsible for the well-being of the amazing people of La. Now, when I talk about interconnectedness with nature, I'm talking about more than just I use you, so you use me, or I have to rely on you, or so you have to rely on me, transactional type of relationship. There is also a respect attached to nature. And we believe that nature is an energy that we could communicate with. And the result of that communication, depending on what we do or what we don't do, can either produce something that enhances the society or can produce something that actually damages the society. So a lot of our traditions and our stories and the actions that we do when we achieve or want to achieve certain things are based on that understanding that we are relating to something that we respect, and that, you know, there is a mutual respect between the two. So in the next few sections, I'm going to be telling you or showing you some stories that relate to our interaction with nature, some of the things that we do in order to appease nature or work with nature, or some of the things that we haven't done that talks about the resilience of nature.
Now, what mame instead of new obale anko I feel groups na ke hu ni ahu ni modromo na whether afi ojogba no ni enimbu wa do plejo it was sowing period ni omo reaping ona wojo pele March April ni ahu now obana keje August kenya abilifo kan bi ebomba be reap no ni enimbu wa ni age awo omo ni ju omo wo Dr. Me wo na geshi plejo sowing period na ngata mi wo na geshi ke afi kome na gefe no ko e wale ni jage we are individuals so like we feel a group no ake along the greater Accra region ni eni ebu etem fe efe no wo na geshi ka afi kome na gefe no ko e wale nte o ya individual do pele was celebrator nani homo was celebrator the sowing period there was celebrator then reaping period there was celebrator celebration I guess no of you comedy okay hu sena mo ebai no we celebrate ona ojo aga oduma no noise making the meaning of it bremana ahu I mean the weather wasn't all that good one homo ba do na ahu ata wo osofu amene asane amebote amegbatu amene ame soli kunu na good weather bona fe woni ni bi ni wo du ne yin akapata do na ke o soli e sane o observe some tranquility ko sane atmosphere feel very serene do o soli pa ni mo fine. That is why I can't solve something. I feel something if it did by solve. No one be no get solve, you know. No, man, if I feel noise, we expect I can see. I mean solve. When I feel it, when I good weather, many happy. We kayo. See. No na gba waje. Shajuju ma je be ni abatoma no na dun chue. No man is as old as Sajochue. Bena wa toma no na duda machoe.
Now this is the tree that the elder was referring to in the previous video. It was the first thing that the people did when they arrived in Tema and decided that this was going to be their land. It is considered a sacred space. Also, if you didn't know, Tema is also the center of the earth. So this space really has an essence and a meaning to it. Now, this tree isn't static. We consider it to be a powerful tree, one that is able to express itself. And there have been attempts to cut this tree down, but there have been consequences to the extent that there have been some casualties. And many hundreds of years later, the tree still stands as a testament to the resilience, not only of the Tema people, but also of nature.
Noni ewoni aya nsho na na kambieji nsho egbiji jufo nuwo jufo nsho ejio nenyo efiti olele ni mamo nsho na fin nyo poke gon eko ibanye ko keba eni ibanye wo charge me osha fort ni nuwo aya nsho na jufo no hwe wele nyoko hu eya awu gbomo follow be igbe no ba aju ko ya ju eje nso kebu ba ya no e bo san ni ya ke ni afi ni dani ne ke kusu ne ni afi o ne na ya nso na aju fo dani wo ba ye hu mo wo ni ji dan tu bi lanteja we bi ba ye hu mo wo aba abule nso ni ka ya abule nso akechina ni ke ba abule nso to mo ada nso shi iwo ka abule nso atan agbene aba agbelegbe ni wele aya wu jeme ame ba akolu acho le chile nu ame ba akokeba ni dantu ba neku ni ba ho eni e ka agbene gbegbele iran gan mi fin eni bi eyanu wona nokuna wona nlo ni da ni nso ba fite e kan shimo ni wele ba nya me ya wu da ni ba nya yi ni ba fite ni bi yen nso na iwo leno ni wo ba fe ni wa amaji olu kejo mi ke ba amena se na me yi iwo ke mo ko fe no ko ihan bu e sani bohun o dalish e ja ke to mo nso ni ji olu ke ni bi ihan me na me nyo ame ya me ba ni no ko efe ya me iwo ke sha fi no ji china ni wuro mo ke dan tu bi ke ba ya na ke ba bol nso na fe ke ka ken dalish.
Now, one of the things that I find very interesting is the idea of gardens. Now, in the UK, I think the perfectly looking green space that is attached to the house is a grass with beautiful flowers, which I've seen some amazingly wonderful gardens. And it's beautiful. It also takes a lot to maintain. I think in Ghana, we're very blessed to have amazing weather, but also very fertile land. And we've never really lost that connection between our sustenance and the land. So what you'll find is in most compound houses that there's always something edible in that house or edible growing in that house. The videos that I'm showing you now are videos of places that I've passed by that I've got edible fruits growing. So we've got papaya is very common, coconut is extremely common. Even across the road from where I'm filming this video, there's a coconut tree directly there. You'll also find a lot of palm trees that we use for a number of things like our brooms. We'll use it for our food, we'll use it to make all sorts of stuff. So we call it like the king tree because we use it for so many different things. So a lot of the stuff that we grow in our houses, as well as decorative, as well as, looking nice, we also grow a lot of edible stuff, which also contributes to us having a lot less food miles. Even when you're buying food in the markets, the likelihood is you're buying from someone who's also growing on their land. At most, you have 1 degree of separation. When you're buying fish, for example, you're buying from the fisherman, or you're buying from the fisherman directly, or the fishermen that have sold to a particular individual who's now selling to you. So our food miles are very short, and that also contributes to the well-being of the planet in general. So I'm going to show you my garden and also what's across the road from me, just to give you an idea of how it works in our society. Now this is a palm tree that we use. If you look across the road here, that's a coconut tree. And then also here, that's neem. So I get a lot of my neem, medicinal neem from here. Now back to my garden. This is also another important plant. This is noni, which we use medicinally. But it doesn't stop there. We're also nursing quite a few plants. So we've got some decorative plants, but we've also got coconut, we've got cocoa, and we've also, coconut, cocoa, avocado is also being nursed here. And we're reusing every single form of container that you can find.
And ni ndumo ehi se na moyemi. Ni wan wadu ni eni choni wota shishi na cho le mangocho. Ni ntashi ne hunu e shami. No e wondu. Ken ta e ko ni hunu eje. Ni mbetenti e mabamba tatuenshi. Ken ni ma ho eje. Ken bi ba tra masa na ameke wo ke hwe yemi. Ke wota shi ni je na wo ba wo. Ni je na wo ba nye wo ba kosa wo mwetuenshi. Ni wona fresh here. Iwo hair iwo wodun ocho eja ke cho han ko yo papa ba Tsumi. Iwo bi ene wo ye pe acho ye bi wo ye mangocho wo ya akoshicho wo ya akutucho wo ye ni bi srot ye shian ene.
Now, about 15 years ago, I would have been in my mid-20s, mid to late 20s at the time. I came to Ghana and I was having some us time with me and my grandma. Now, most of us who've had our relationship with our grandma know there's a special connection between grandparents and grandchildren. And my grandma, like, we're really, really tight. She's always imparting knowledge into me. She's always blessing me, random blessings, just looking at me and just sending blessings. But she also knew at that time that I was interested in nature. And so every opportunity she got to teach me about nature, she will use that opportunity. And one day came and she was like, I'm going to show you all the stuff that's growing in this place. And she was walking around and she was showing me all the different plants and fruits and stuff that she's growing in this place. And we got to this point here. And she said, here is ginger. Now, what I could see was a bunch of leaves. I was like, I don't see ginger. Now, in my mind, I was like, I know what ginger looks like. If there's anything that I know, it's what ginger looks like. I don't know what I was expected to see, whether it was a bunch of leaves and then there was ginger at the top or the ginger was sitting on the earth. I really don't know what I was expected to see. But I was sure that what I wasn't looking like at was ginger. And she's like, no, there's ginger. I said, Grandma, I cannot see ginger. Where is the ginger? Please, where is it? And so she got one of the leaves and she used her hand to dig and she brought it, she gave it out. And there it was. For the first time in my whole entire life, I saw what ginger looked like when it's growing out of the ground. And it was like a real, what do you call it, light bulb shock moment. Because I realized, one, I know nothing. Because if there's one thing I thought I knew is what ginger looked like. And two, I am so far disconnected from my food that when it's growing in the ground, I don't even know what it looks like. It wasn't until maybe 5 years later that I realized what carrot looks like growing out of the ground, because when I'm buying carrots, most of the time the greens are cut off the top of it. And I think this is one of the, if I was to say there were very key moments in my life that helped me connect with nature and helped me become who I am today, I would say those were one of the key moments that kind of made me realize that I need to connect more with the land. So growing your own food and using green spaces in this way is not just about reducing food miles and, getting, cheaper food because you're growing it yourself. It's also about building connection between you and your community, you and other people, but also building connection between you and your food, which I think, and I know in my case, leads to less wastage. You don't waste as much food when there is a connection between you and what you're eating. So I wanted to tell you that story just to kind of further explain the beauty of how we use our green spaces. And this has also been feeding me the most tasteful, sweet, lovely mangoes. We have literally like all the, because this has been a season for a while, so a lot of the mangoes have been eaten, but you can see a couple of them left over here. There's a couple of mangoes over here. So I hope that's given you an idea about how we work with our green spaces, how we work with our personal green spaces, aka gardens, that our food is never really far away from us. But the importance and the beauty of growing your own food is so much so that even when people come and visit, they often gift you some of their harvest. So I had an uncle visit me less than a week ago, or visit our family less than a week ago. And one of the things he bought for us is this. So sometimes you'll come and you might be gifted some yams and so on. And so it's just that very circle. There's never really an end. We grow the food, we share it. Somebody else is growing their food, they share it. And it not only is it less food miles, but it creates a a unity amongst the community, an appreciation amongst the community, and that growing your own food and sharing it can be such a powerful gesture of love. And something that we really well and truly appreciate, because I'm telling you this is going to be tasting much better than anything that you can buy on the road, because it was given to us and grown in love.
Ni nye cho sister thank you. Nye mwene gbe kan bi ye ni nye ba. Nye bu blema ni bi. She wonu pa ke ni wo jenu ame ke wa ke. Ko ye mama no de ke yi le nwe takoso yi de ka mi. Itakoso ne yi de ka mi bo ojo lo to tale no yo no ye. No wo mwene no o ke wo bola. She me ni ntashe yi ke de be na marry me. More than 60 years. Mama na ke marry me ko yen nde ka bi ane. Mbi ni for 63 years. A baby atale na ke ha le ko yen nde ka bi ane. Shi nyon bla yen yen ba no fe no kranye kan wo bola. Yo ne ke ni bi ne ni yo ne be mani bi ne. Ko ke nu jibu ni obi yo fo, lo obi nu fo. O ba to mama. Ni ko to mama bonu no twa kwaja. O ba ko o mama komi. Obonu ba ko mama komi no pa fito bi bia no ka ji obi lepo boyo hu ne ke o mama meji ne o ba to eko ke ko ke he fitai e ko kan hale no mi e wo be napkin wo be nini nye ke wo pampers wo be eko e wo ne ke ta ko hwe ne mama mo meji ne no pa wo bi le shishi no ke ko ba nmesa o hale ne ba kan no.
So I want to talk to you today about this piece of material, which to the untrained eye looks like just maybe 2 yards, a yard and a half of cloth. But we have this traditional tie, we call it kabayan slits. It's like a top, bottom, and especially the elder generation, I don't always see it with the youngers, that you basically have this cloth, you've got your kabayan slit, you've got this cloth that you basically wrap round as part of it. But this piece of cloth has multi-purpose use. So number one, you've got a part of your traditional attire looking absolutely wonderful. You have a child making noise, you want to calm them. So what we do is which is put the child on your back. The way we would do this is you'll take this extra piece of cloth, you put your child on your back, you put it over, do this, and then you do this, and you've got your child on your back. I'll show you a picture. If it's cold, this also acts as a duvet cover. When I say cold, this is probably the UK's lowest summer, is what they will refer to as cold here. And this is what you would use as your duvet cover. Even when this piece of material gets old, actually before it gets old, you can actually also use it as a headscarf. So depending however you want to tie it, do this, you do some style, look absolutely fabulous. It will even go with the outfit that I'm wearing today. Also, as it gets older, we also use it as house cloth. So instead of a dressing gown, so what my grandma was explaining is that we don't walk around the house in towels. You'll dry yourself off. Once you've dried yourself off, you'll use this to wrap around, and then you go around. And let me tell you something here. In terms of house clothing, this is the most comfortable, most free. The air gets to where it needs to get to, and you're just free and you're flowing and you're minding your own business. So this one piece of cloth in a kabayan slit has been used in so many different ways. In this one piece of cloth alone, we have a duvet cover, we have a headscarf, we have a baby carrier, we have a dressing gown. We have so many different things, and we use it in a variety of ways. Now, this video would not be possible if I didn't have elders telling me the stories of my heritage, if I didn't have friends and family telling me the stories of our traditions, our cultures, taking me around. Listen, I must have done like 50 million steps over the course of creating this, just walking around the towns and learning various elements of my heritage. And so I want to use this video to actually say thank you to all of those who have helped me over the years, who have invested in me, who have imparted their knowledge in me, who have supported me in so many different ways, that this and my previous videos would not have been possible without them. So I want to take this opportunity to say Oyiwaladonn, and I want to also say Tsumi. I really, really appreciate you. really enjoyed it, please leave a comment. Let me know what you really enjoyed. Let me know if you learned anything, what you learned. And also talk to me about your traditions and cultures and things that you found similarities with or slight differences, but with the same appreciation for the environment that is around us. So please feel free to subscribe. I have loads more videos on nature, use of herbs as medicine. I have another climate video to tell you some of the other aspects of our culture. Share, subscribe, watch to your heart's content, and I will see you in my next video.
Bia ne nyonyo fe na ne yeko ifanku. Nda nwe jefu. E da ka le no ni kan da njefu mma mi lo grandma e chon mi. Ni kan tai ko manye ma wi. Shinye da hu fe sha kanye nga shi to mo black and white. Ko ta ma te no wi anya mu. Oba tata kocha.